This is the second question we had. The second style of question that you may have in terms of the sine rule. Of course, don't get me wrong, it can get way more complicated than what we're presenting here, but this is an introduction so you get the key concepts of using the sine rule, just as you've gotten the key concepts for using the cosine rule. So, get going. We want to find an unknown angle. First thing is label up. We know it's going to be sine A over A equals sine B over B. And you're going to think we know. Hang on, sir. That's not the formula that you gave me before. I had common A on top and sine A below and so on and so forth. And I'm like, yeah. Well, if you want to find an angle, put sine A on top, okay? And let's think about this. If 2 over 4, write this down. I'm not going to write it down. You write this down. If you're thinking, is this the same thing? Right, write this down. If 2 over 4 is equal to 4 over 8, 2 over 4 equals 4 over 8, and I hope you agree with that. They're equivalent fractions, yeah? Then if you invert everything, you get 4 over 2 is equal to 8 over 4. And that's still true. A half is a half. 2 is 2. Yeah? So, in other words, the beauty of the sine rule is that you can write it in the format that is most suitable for your purpose. If you're finding a length, you put the lengths as the numerators. If you're finding an angle, you put the angles as the numerators. And that makes life a lot easier in terms of the algebraic manipulation. If you don't do it, you'll still get the same answer. It's just, as I said, the algebraic manipulation, getting the subject to the formula, that will get a bit more complicated. Now that we have agreed, and you can see 2 over 4 is equal to 4 over 8, that means 4 over 2 is 8 over 4 because you did write it down and you did check for yourself. You're not just taking my word for granted. I'm human. I can make a mistake. Quite unlikely. But, you know, it's possible. It's possible, okay? Continuing. We label up. X is A. That means 15 centimeters is common A. B, that's our 9 centimeters, capital B is going to be 35 degrees. We do the substitution. That means based on our notation, we have sine x over 15 is equal to sine 35 over 9. I want x to be the subject of the formula. So sine x, I'm going to get to x eventually, but sine x is going to be equal to 15 sine 35 over 9. In other words, we'll multiply both sides by 15. Get rid of the dividing by 15. And then finally, when you want to find an angle, you should remember from all the trig work that we've done so far, to find an angle, you use the inverse trig function. So x is going to be sine inverse of 15 sine 35 over 9. Yes, you're allowed to find the sine inverse of an expression that has sine in it. It gets crazy. Trust me, it does get really crazy later on. When we start doing P9, P10, the calculus stuff, yeah, you'll see some interesting things on the screen. Sine inverse, 15 sine 35 over 9 is what you're looking at, okay? And once you plug that into your calculator, to get the 15 sine 35 over 9, you're going to use the fraction keys. That will give you 72.9 degrees to 1 decimal place. So that's the sine rule in a nutshell. You got the idea. Let's look at some mixed questions to make sure you can make the important choice. Do you use sine rule or cosine rule? And we'll build from there.